We're good. Okay. Oh my God. Thank you guys for coming. Welcome to the first Salesforce Business Analyst Group virtual meeting. I am so excited to have you here. And if you I'm gonna just go all over my words today because I'm so beside myself that you're all here and we're actually doing this. If you want to keep on with the chat, let us know whoever sees this recording, where you're from. All right, starting off, in case you can't tell, I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. But I see that this is something people do, housekeeping items. The meeting is being recorded. I will edit it, so hopefully I will sound more intelligent in the recording. And I'm going to post it on YouTube. A big aspect of this for me is I want to make sure, since we are the only Salesforce BA group, that we try and keep things as accessible as possible. So we'll have a lot of global attendees, at least I hope. And so a big part of that is going to be making sure that we have recording, so if folks can't make it live, that they still reap the benefits of whatever wondrous things come out of these meetings. Chat, and I will do my best to keep up. Brenda has also offered to help moderate for me. Thank you so much, Brenda. You're the best. And I would also encourage you guys to use emojis. I can certainly, I certainly appreciate the encouragement, so feel free to use emojis liberally. Don't spam. And if you want to speak, feel free to raise your hand. Just try and stay on mute until you're called. If something comes up that you have something burning to say, go for it. But I will have some time at the end for questions, suggestions, and all the rest. Yes, Eric. Or are you just trying out the hand thing? Are you trying to clap? Okay, I'm moving on. So, hi, everybody. I am your hostess with the mostest, Vanessa Grant, also BABA for BadAssBA. Shirt Force, if you guys want a BadAssBA shirt, comes in many colors, but I'm rather proud of it. I am currently a product owner at a fintech company called Mosaic. I feel like product owner is a role that a lot of BAs end up moving towards once they start moving into kind of management roles and overseeing their own Salesforce boards.
Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Nancy.
And I am 10 times Salesforce certified. I've been doing Salesforce stuff for 14 years now. I'm also certified Scrum Master, and I think understanding Scrum and Agile is also pretty important for BAs as far as having that vocabulary. I'm also a credential ambassador, so I helped with the Salesforce Business Analyst certification and some other ones. I've worked as a Salesforce product owner, consultant, business analyst, lead BA, and a solution architect, and my email address is on there if anybody has any questions or people they want to see in future meetings or topics they want to hear about in future meetings. Please feel free to reach out to me on my email or LinkedIn. I'm kind of vaguely responsive on LinkedIn. I also am the co-host of the Salesforce Career Show, which with Josh Matthews, the Salesforce recruiter. Cool. And just a reminder, if folks could mute, please. Cool. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Cool. So yeah, I'm kind of running this thing right now. As I kind of get to know you guys, and like I said, I'm really looking for more inclusivity and more of a global presence. We have a lot of business analysts, and this is the only group right now. Would love it if, this kind of ended up branching out at some point because we had so much enthusiasm over business analyst topics. So I'm sure at some point later on in the year, I will definitely be looking to add some co-leaders. So if that's something you're interested in, let's get to know each other. So let's just throw that out there. I've also been doing a lot of mentorship in this space. I love business analysis. It is my heart. And I feel like this group is a great direction to get business analysis some of the recognition I think it deserves in the Salesforce ecosystem. So our agenda today, what is a Salesforce Business Analyst? We do have folks like Eric, who just passed his admin exam and maybe doesn't know all about business analysis, and we also have some really seasoned BAs here. So I figure let's just touch on it real quick so you guys understand what I mean when I say Salesforce Business Analyst. We'll also touch a bit on the group. So, why are you guys here? What can you expect from this group? How often are we going to meet? What topics can you expect? What's my mission? And of course, like every villain, I need an origin story. Some news and opportunities. And then we'll open it up for questions and suggestions because at the end of the day, I really want to make this something that everybody can be a part of. It's not the Vanessa show. I don't want it to be the Vanessa show. Part of this is so that we can build the community that I've desperately wanted since I got into business analysis a few years ago. So I'm going to pause there. Did we have any questions or anything? So far, I just see. All right. So far, so good. All right. I'm moving on. If I can figure out how the button works. Yes. What is a Salesforce Business Analyst? Sorry, 5-year-old in the background. All right. So this is the definition from Trailhead. I have the link on the bottom, but I'm sure you could look it up. But a business analyst is a project-based business improvement role. Business analysts help guide businesses to improve processes and efficiency in Salesforce. They elicit, document, and analyze requirements around business challenges, and then produce data-driven solutions. Think of the Salesforce business analyst like an interpreter. They're the go-to person when it comes to communication between IT and business stakeholders to ensure all involved work together to attain the best results. I probably lean towards those last few sentences more than die hard on the first one, but I figure it's important that we understand at least where Trailhead's coming from since we're all Salesforce folks on this thing. This is something that I've said often, probably because I think I've heard Ian Gott say it. I don't remember where I heard this, but it resonated with me, and so hopefully it'll resonate with some of you. But I think most Salesforce professionals would agree that business analysis is the foundation for any successful Salesforce project. I have, in my experience in all of my various roles, seen, and I would say business analysts are project-based roles. I've seen projects teeter on poor requirements gathering, poor discovery, poor user stories, poor follow-through, poor testing. And so I think when projects put the right resources and time and effort into business analysis, you do see more successful outcomes in Salesforce projects, which is why I think this group is so important. This isn't just about honing our skill sets. I think it's also about how do we build the community that will socialize to the rest of the Salesforce ecosystem how important business analysis is so that we can see more successful Salesforce projects. There have been, I know I've worked on, several disastrous Salesforce implementations, or I started a new organization and maybe they don't have a great Salesforce implementation. Things are poorly documented or things, weren't quite done right. This is where I think business analysis is really important and can help. And so I'm glad that you're all here and we can be on this journey together. So when I'm talking about what folks do in business analysis, I'm talking about, this is like a typical Salesforce project lifecycle. And these are kind of the things that I think about when I think about the hats or the roles or the duties that a business analyst might do on a Salesforce project. Now, your mileage may vary depending on if you're an internal BA or you're an external BA. Not all BAs do these things. Sometimes, we do have the luxury of hiring a Salesforce trainer or hiring a project manager. Sometimes it's a solo admin that really has to be responsible for all of this stuff and just wear the BA hat. But these are all things that I would say I've seen or heard BAs typically take on Salesforce projects. So in that analyze stage, you're looking at the discovery, collaboration with stakeholders, business process mapping, gathering requirements, creating user stories out of those maps and those requirements, and understanding a current state and the future state. A lot of times, and I would say the general understanding that I gather from folks in the ecosystem is they think that after this analyze stage that the BA kind of gets locked up in a cave until the next project starts, and that is not the case. this is why I say it's the foundation of a successful Salesforce engagement, because you really want the BA to be part of all parts of this cycle. During the build, they would be there for development support. So really being that bridge between the development team and the business stakeholders, help supporting user acceptance testing, running sprint demos a lot of times is something that I see business analysts do, just because a lot of times they really are close to those stakeholders and close to the build. And so they often are the obvious choice for doing those demos at the end of a sprint, or doing those demos at the end of an epic when you're kind of doing the end-to-end functionality. And also, one thing I maybe didn't throw on there is user experience design. I think is also a hat that BAs tend to wear, being the folks that are closest to those end users. And so I've seen things where, you have 5 acceptance criteria and they're all met, but then the BA gets in and starts actually trying the thing out, and it's like, ooh, these end users are not going to be happy with the 20 clicks it takes to get there. And so I think user experience, of course, while it'd be lovely to have a user experience designer on every Salesforce project, that's not my mission today, but certainly I want you guys to be aware of that hat. Delivery, so thinking through on change management, documentation, and training. Again, not something that all BAs do, but certainly I think something that BAs often have influence on or have to take responsibility on if the team doesn't have those resources. So then after the project is delivered, operate. So I think this is probably more so when you're talking about hypercare if you're a consulting BA, or this would be really relevant if you're an internal BA. So collecting ongoing feedback. If there's continuous improvements, so like there are changes to the business, so making those adjustments, any maintenance, so onboarding new people, offboarding new people, seeing if there's anything in the Salesforce releases that means that we have to change previous solutions, and helping write up those stories and getting things ready for the next project, building up that backlog so that we can go back to that analyze stage. And that's all I'm going to say on being a business analyst, and I will pause there and see if there's any questions. Oh, and thank you, Stu. I appreciate you throwing some stuff on there. Stuart is one of my BA heroes. So
and I'm gonna annoy probably you and everyone else here, because I'm gonna throw in IIBA quotes from time to time. That's
you
just
should.
It's something that happens when you're CBAP certified. you tend to say things like, if you want to be a good BA, then or if you want to be a good Salesforce BA, then start by being a good BA. Think about attending the IIBA meetings near you, getting your CBAP certification, learning how to do BA type skills, and then transfer that to your Salesforce skills as well.
Yeah, I think understanding. I think it's really interesting and important that you understand how to formally do something, whether it's Scrum, whether it's business analysis, whether best practices in Salesforce, rather than kind of just learning everything when you're already on the job. I find particularly with project management and business analysis, because those areas, so many corners get cut oftentimes on these projects, that learning that stuff on the job usually not as helpful as getting some of that more formal training, or even coming to these sessions. The fact that you guys are here to try and understand a little bit more about this role is, I mean, that's part of the work here. Thank you, Stu. Erica.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm really glad Stuart said what he said, because I'm fairly new to the BA space and Salesforce. And I found like I like methodology. I like having step-by-step. So I often felt like when I just do a Salesforce project, there's things that are missing. Like I don't feel as comfortable. I feel like things are missing. So because of that, I've gone back into past projects that I've done and put a BA spin on it. just so I can get the feel of, okay, this is, I want to make sure that, you know, the vision, the mission, like all these things are lined up, have the objectives lined up, and then there's a flow to the project. So at any point in time, if somebody were to come back and ask me, well, why did you do this? It's almost like a golden thread that I have throughout the project where they could just follow the thread and see where my thinking is and why. So I'm really excited that you put this group together, and I feel like I'm going to learn a lot here. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming. And you know, I couldn't agree with that more. You know, I think with one of the great things about making sure that you get some education, either formally or through these types of groups, and understanding how other folks do business analysis or business analysis related activities. I think it also makes you a more effective team member, because again, we're talking about projects. So you're likely going to be working on a team unless you're a solo admin. And when you actually understand how to do things formally, you're a lot more able to pick out dysfunction. So if something is going wrong, if you understand how something's done formally, you can go back in and say, well, why don't we try this thing? Maybe we need to try this thing, or we didn't spend enough time on this thing. But when you're learning all that stuff on the job and nobody actually really formally understands how to do a certain role, that's when, you know, kind of stuff gets made up and, you know, the story points don't matter. All right, let's talk about the group a little. So my villain origin story was a couple of years ago. It was 2021. I guess that's 3 years ago at this point. I threw up a post on LinkedIn because I was like, cool, there's all these community groups. I'm starting to really get into the Salesforce community stuff. Where's the BA group? And then I was like, oh, there is no BA group. Well, that's a bummer. So I had an MVP reach out, and she connected me with the Trailhead community team, the Trailblazer community team. And we got the ball rolling. So created a case. I think that case got closed. Then I created another case, and then that one got closed. And then all of a sudden I made some meetings happen. And you know, this thing kind of evolved a whole bunch over the course of the last, you know, almost 3 years. The important thing, though, I think, is there's certain magic to, one, the community, you know, that you can leverage these networks and build something that maybe didn't even exist before. So the fact that you guys are here is a testament to, we just made this happen because this was something that people wanted. And, you know, I'm sure I wasn't the only champion for it, but, you know, I guess I got the golden ticket to lead this group, and I'm so grateful for it. But yeah, this is something that I've been trying for a long time. And what I think is interesting, and actually, you know, I'll save it for a little bit later, because I think this group now is almost different than the vision I had a few years ago when I initially wanted to start. And when I initially wanted to start it, I was just kind of looking for a place to network and let's just share best practices. And now now that I know that we can create something out of nothing, I've got some bigger ideas that I would love to share with you guys. So our mission is essentially, we're championing business analysis in the Salesforce ecosystem. I think the more people understand about business analysis, the better outcomes we'll get on Salesforce projects, hands down. I don't think Trailhead is necessarily sufficient right now when it comes to educating Salesforce BAs. And I know that because we do have other resources that are outside of Trailhead, like the International Institute of Business Analysis, a great resource, but not Salesforce specific, that sometimes Salesforce gets a little bit hesitant to talk through how business analysis should look on Salesforce projects. But Salesforce projects are more complex than a lot of IT, like generic IT business analyst projects. Salesforce is a platform, so every project is going to be like a brownfield project because we have to build it on a platform. There's already pre-existing technology that we have to consider every time we have a Salesforce project. And so there's certain nuances and understanding of the Salesforce platform that is really key to being a good Salesforce BA. Otherwise, you're a BA. To be a Salesforce BA, you have to understand the nuance of the Salesforce platform. So that's our goal here, is how do we champion business analysis so that it's done well, done properly, and more people understand it and more people can connect. So like I said, when I first started, I was just kind of thinking of how do we create a group so that people can network and talk to other BAs and understand what's going on. I have a new mission now. It's a little bit of a lofty goal, but I think it's always good to have these big, hairy, audacious goals. There's developers.salesforce.com. There's admin.salesforce.com. There's architect.salesforce.com. I think if we take this group and we really have some good discussions on how business analysis can be done well on Salesforce projects, and we can touch on each of the tasks that people do and hear different people's experiences, bring in some cool speakers, and start documenting and centralizing this information. My hope is that someday we'll get ba.salesforce.com. That's the goal. And I feel like if we create our activities around maybe getting that done someday, then at worst, the journey will be very fruitful, I think, for all of us. So first thing, I want to have meetings monthly. So as far as expectations, you can expect an invite monthly. When it happens, it will depend on my schedule. But I also want it to be global. So it's going to be different times. If you can't make every meeting, again, I don't want you to worry about it. I do plan on recording meetings, and I do plan on sharing them and making them easy to get to. So that's going to be a big part of it, is making sure that we open it up to folks that are all over the world, just because this is the only group right now. If this blows up and we split off into other chapters, then cool, but this is where we're at right now. So I will do my best to keep it monthly, keep it global, and keep it interesting. Things that I really want to focus on. Oh, sorry, Stuart, can I? What?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I was
That's all
waiting
right.
after you talk.
It's okay.
Oh, I just wanted to mention, on what Stuart said earlier, the other Stuart, about being a BA separate from being a Salesforce. They took away that admin requirement that they
I
used to have,
know.
which
It made me mad.
if there's anyone in the audience that has just taken the BA standalone without the admin, and that's your only cert as a BA through Salesforce, I would recommend you do at least the admin on top of that. Because I'm a CBAP, and I took the admin because it was required at the time when I came into the BA, the regular BA that they offer now, and it's really weak. It really is weak. So that's all I wanted to say, but I didn't want to interrupt you, Vanessa.
No,
I think piggybacking on what Stuart said.
No, I think it's a great point, and I think having the admin as a prereq for BA is a hill that I will always be willing to die on. But unfortunately, I was overruled on that one. But yeah, I think it's really important that you understand the Salesforce platform if you're going to be a Salesforce BA. That being said, I wouldn't say that this is the group where you're going to learn a whole lot about the Salesforce platform. There's 1,000,001 admin groups that'll teach you flow. I want to focus on business analyst activities because we are the only BA group. So what I want out of this group, I want networking, connections, Salesforce BA speaker development, leadership development, career guidance. I think these are all important and aren't a whole lot of spaces for them. And Gil Martin, I will get to you after I get to the next column. I also wanted this to be a place where we share information. So news, opportunities, where we'd be able to document resources. So if we have any good Salesforce BA resources, recommended practices. I think Trailhead's a bit lacking on some of this stuff, where if we could have a good conversation one session on like, hey, what are the initial questions that you would use if you were doing a Sales Cloud implementation? That would be super helpful, I think, for a lot of people. Or let's say there's a new Salesforce feature, maybe we bring up a release and say, okay, well, how would we decide on based on this new release, how we can integrate some of these features with our businesses. and have a conversation and start documenting some of these approaches to things. So I would love to get resources, recommended practices, and then centralize it. I'm hoping to get a site up so that we can kind of have a central place to keep some of this stuff. So recordings and maybe some documentation on anything that maybe a majority of us have agreed on is the right way forward for certain things. Or even if there's some dissonance between us, maybe discussing some of that stuff on the site. But I want a place where right now I don't feel like there is a great place to centralize information on Salesforce specific business analysis. I also would like to get a Slack channel just in case folks are having any struggles specifically that need help right away. We do have a board on the Trailhead communities, and I know a few folks have been using that. And for right now, I'm just going to have some YouTube, but at some point I will have the site up to centralize because I do feel a big part of this will be to document, to centralize, and then to socialize. And once we get those three things, I think the community will come. Gil Martin, what's up? Still can't hear you for some reason. You're definitely unmuted though.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Switching microphones. My comment was actually online exactly what you're saying. And the way I see it in my case in particular, given my journey into the ecosystem and coming from a strong sales and business background, this BA role and without the requirement for the admin certification, I just see it as another entry point. And then we all know the value of understanding the platform, but at the same time, it's a way of leveraging past experiences. And the way I've discussed it with other people that come from healthcare or come from finance or other areas, it gives people that have stronger business backgrounds to find a place in which you feel less of an imposter, right? The imposter syndrome is real. So I just see it as a phenomenal place to get your career going, and then nourish it with this kind of exchange of ideas and everything that you do. And that's why I stuck you.
And I love seeing you here, Gil. So thank you. You always, I appreciate your support. I really appreciate everybody's support. I'm so grateful that you're all here, and I know I'm just gonna keep saying it over and over. But this is what I'm looking to do. Right now we're starting scrappy, but I've got some big plans for us, and I am determined to build the community that I've been seeing in my head for the last 2+ years, and to centralize those resources that I get so many LinkedIn messages on a weekly basis on, can you point me to some resources, or can you tell me how to be a business analyst, or I need mentorship. I want us to be that central hub for this, and support each other. And part of that is going to be, creating leaders in this space. We have some leaders in this space, but I want us to support each other, to lift each other up so that we can socialize these practices, so that I can, be front row in your speaking sessions, so that you can try out speaking sessions here and talk to us about things that you want to share with the community. And, let's find you slots if you want to go and socialize business analysis to other groups. These are the things that I'm hoping to develop as part of this group. And if I can change the slide, yes. No, oh, there we go. So again, these are the types of topics that we'll have. I also want to throw in career guidance, agile, and okay, maybe some AI with a slight eye roll. I do think that as part of the evolving practice of business analysis, we do have to keep an eye on AI, because all of our businesses are going to be transformed if they want to stay relevant. And also there's a lot of really neat AI tools that can also support us in our roles. I actually did a session pretty recently with Ben, who I think is on the call, on tools that we can use so that we can focus on the human element. At the end of the day, business analysis is not going away. It's going to be more important than ever, especially as orgs are trying to clean up and make themselves usable so that when AI comes in, it's not feeding the AI garbage. So how do we remove that tech debt and get things documented properly so that we can feed that AI? And how can we use tools so that we can actually accomplish business analysis with the time and the resources that we're given? So how can we, to a certain extent, do more with less? But also do more with more. So how can we focus more on the human element of business analysis, which is where so many of us shine, and let the AI take care of some of these, dragging shapes onto the lucid chart, that kind of stuff. So yes, we'll be touching on that as well, I hope, over the course of, our meetings here. So to go on with some SFBA news and opportunities. Listen, it's a meeting one, so I don't have a ton, but I want to give you guys a sense of kind of where I'm going with some of this stuff. Also, want to note for folks that are maybe newer or just want to hone their BA skills, Clicked is hosting a BA sprint coming up, and they're still accepting applications. So if folks aren't familiar with Clicked, it basically is kind of like a safe space to run a fake Salesforce project. For this particular one, it's as a BA. There's Gaurav, who's an MVP. Mo is an amazing consultant. And I think these experiences, they're free. So let me throw that out there. I think there's a lot to get out of them, even though sometimes they can feel a little bit chaotic. They're really good if you are unclear on how to, what the vocabulary of a business analyst is and how to apply that vocabulary. The process of being in a sprint, it takes a lot of time, but it's free. It's sponsored by Salesforce. But getting into one of these sprints, it's a lot of work, but you will leave with a better business analyst vocabulary that's specific to Salesforce. And I think that's where you'll get a lot of benefit if you're interested in doing a Click sprint. And I do have the link for that as well. Any questions? Yes, Greg.
Actually, that brings up a good question. So in pursuing an admin role, there are a lot of opportunities to, say, volunteer with nonprofits and really kind of get in. I've done a few of those with more of the configuration and kind of cleaning up things. Are you aware of any resources to do something similar, but more in a BA specific format?
I think Clicked is probably going to be your best bet on that one. Those are probably as close as you're going to get to the BA experience without actually potentially hurting some nonprofits org, unless you are being properly guided by somebody who knows what they're doing. I tend to get a little bit nervous with volunteer opportunities, especially if you're like going solo. If you have a mentor who's going to show you how to do things right, awesome. I find that those are few and far between. And so I always get a little bit nervous because you don't want folks that are totally new to the ecosystem to all of a sudden get into an org. Nonprofits don't have a ton of budget to begin with. And then, if they're kind of just doing stuff willy-nilly without actually understanding how to do it right, because it's like, oh, hey, it's a practice org, but it's volunteer experience. It gets a little bit hairy for me. With Clicked, it's just like role playing. It's like role playing business analyst. You get put in a team. You basically function like a fake consulting group. Like I said, it can be a little chaotic, but there is benefit to it. And you do get a certificate at the end of it. And it is sponsored by Salesforce. I think partly they created these types of experiences to avoid folks, wrecking nonprofit orgs.
Yeah, I did one recently. It was a good experience. It definitely was chaotic, but it was fun seeing the process. But I didn't know if there was anything beyond that to take that to the next level.
Yeah, I can't think of any. If anybody else has any thoughts on how you build up business analyst experience before finding a full-time role, just kind of build up your resume or get some more hands-on project experience. I am open if folks have some thoughts. Feel free to throw it in the chat or raise a hand.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And lastly, well, I guess maybe not lastly, but my last news item is call for speakers. So a big part of this is I want folks to talk about business analysis everywhere, and my family will not let me go to every conference anymore. So these are the ones that are happening. I put them by in order from when the call for speakers closes. So if anybody wants to go to Tahoe, you have 2 days to submit your abstracts. Now, this is an opportunity for you guys. We are, we're a community now. This is it. We've started it. So if you guys have abstracts that you want to bring towards the group, I'm happy to share some abstracts. If you guys want to do a 10-minute version of your 30-minute presentation, I'm happy to set up some time so we can talk about business analysis topics and give you feedback. I won't even record it if you don't want me to, but I would really love to see some business analyst speakers come out of this group. I would love for us to have a shared understanding of what quality Salesforce business analysis looks like, and then let's socialize it. And I think going into the communities and being a speaker or even just showing up to the events as a business analyst will do so much for educating really the ecosystem and championing business analysis so that we can end up with more successful Salesforce projects. So, yep, Tahoe Dreamin', Forcelandia, London's Calling, Buckeye Dreamin', Portugal Dreamin', Witness Success, Florida Dreamin', and opening soon, Mile High Dreamin'. And I'm going to throw all of these in the chat because I already had it copied and pasted. So I hope you guys end up applying, or I also threw in the or come speak here. If you have a session that you kind of have, in the somewhere, maybe presented it before, or even if you haven't, like come reach out to me and I'm happy to talk. Let's figure it out and get you ready to take on Dreamforce maybe. Yeah, I'm not saying that this is necessarily the precursor for Dreamforce, but you never know. That'd be cool if it were. And I guess we'll finish up with Imal from BA Blocks, another one of my my BA heroes.
I was just gonna make a comment about the difference between being a consultant versus being an internal BA, because I'm sure you've been on both of these sides, Vanessa, and I certainly have. The biggest difference I would say between the two different groups is essentially that when you're a consultant, there's usually a lot of political and cultural currency about the organization that you don't have, and that has a huge impact on whether people trust you, whether they're going to be forthcoming with certain problems that they have or not. And so those are two very different types of roles. I found that as a consultant, it is way more difficult for me to oftentimes do current state analysis and to try to figure out the pain points, because as an external person, a lot of times folks are not as comfortable talking about their internal issues because they know you're external to the organization, right? And those types of barriers, I think, are real barriers for business analysts to deal with. And there are ways of overcoming them. And so I would say that that's probably the biggest difference. The other big difference is that sometimes when you work for a systems implementer, they're going to put you, sometimes they'll pull you into their sales calls, which will usually never happen to you if you're an internal BA because they're all in their sales calls. So there are a lot of those types of differences that have a real impact. And I think there are strategies. If you've done this job long enough, I've had to kind of I have a lot of tricks up my sleeve basically to overcome a lot of those types of challenges. And so I think that a panel discussion around that subject alone could make for a really great conversation. So I don't want to invite myself, but I'd be up for it if you're willing to have me.
Let's talk. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys. We are at 5 o'clock. I'm so excited that you guys are all here. Again, thank you. I'm really excited about what we're all going to build together. Before you leave, if you want to throw your LinkedIn, I would love for us all to connect here, but also outside of here, because I think these connections are really what are going to carry us through our careers. So feel free to throw your LinkedIn on the chat, and hopefully I'll see a bunch of you next month. But I'll hang out for a bit and That way I can connect with folks too. And if anybody wants to hang out and chat for a little bit, you're welcome
Vanessa,
to
you
too.
have to do a picture.
Oh God, I forgot the picture. Sorry. All right. If anybody wants to throw their camera on. Sorry. See, I'm not used to this whole being a leader here. Okay. Let me close the chat real quick. Oh my goodness. This is stressful. All
You
right.
got this.
I can do this. I can take a screen capture. All right. Ready? 1, 2. Hold on. The chat. I don't know how to do this. I think I got it. Woohoo!
Don't forget page 2.
Oh shoot, page 2. Sorry, page 1. Trying to
Good
do my
point.
documentation here. All right, page 2. All right, page 2. You guys, nobody knows who's on page 2, so you're just gonna have to look amazing twice. Okay. Woohoo! Oh my goodness. I'm so excited there's even a page 2. You guys humble me. Thank you.
Vanessa, this is Jean, and I just have to say how damn proud I am of you.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry, Jean.
I know, I'm sitting here going, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. I know you have been wanting this for so long.
Oh, I have.
And to hear your passion and to see this
I know.
come
Yeah.
alive, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for me. I'm excited for all of us. I really hope you can get a Slack channel up and going.
I want to actually get it on. Yeah, I will. I will get a Slack channel going. Again,
Because-
it's I'm gonna breathe things into existence that never existed before, and this is the start of it.
Because there are
Thank
just
you.
so many brilliant people on here, and there's a lot of new people. And just, my mind is over here. Oh, we can have a channel for this. We can have a channel for this. I mean, we can just have a channel like for writing user stories, doing process mapping. Have Ian come and talk about the UPN. I mean, he would just absolutely shine. And just so I am just so damn proud of you, girlfriend.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it's my honor to serve this community, and gosh, just thank you all. Seriously. Let me stop. Somebody stop recording. Brenda, stop the recording before I get all misty-eyed.